Where are the lost nukes? I'm John Deere for Blob Law, and today we're talking about lost thermonuclear weapons. How many are there, where are they, and should we be concerned? In 2001, less than a month after 9/11, U.S. intelligence agencies received information from a confidential source called Dragonfire that Al-Qaeda had stolen a 10-megaton thermonuclear weapon and smuggled it into Manhattan, intending to detonate it in Times Square. Intelligence chatter seemed to support the report enough that intelligence considered it possibly credible. Such a detonation would destroy Times Square, Grand Central Station, Madison Square Garden, the Empire State Building, and 500,000 people, rendering most of New York City uninhabitable. The White House sent Vice President Dick Cheney and others to an alternate location in case the real target was Washington, D.C. Secret teams converged on Manhattan to search for the weapon. In order to avoid a panic, no one in New York, not even Mayor Giuliani, was informed of the crisis. No weapon was ever found, and eventually Dragonfire was completely discredited. The question is, why did agencies believe him, and could it really happen? To answer this question, we have to go all the way back to 1945, near the end of World War II, when the United States dropped the world's first atomic bombs on two major Japanese cities. 37 kilotons of nuclear explosion incinerated 150,000 people at over 7,000 degrees Fahrenheit. 100,000 more victims died from the effects over the next several months, bringing the total to more than 250,000 people. 4 years later, Russia tested its first thermonuclear weapon, and the race was on. By the mid-1950s, the United States and Russia had stockpiled tens of thousands of nuclear weapons. By 1960, the risk of nuclear war was considered so high that school children were regularly trained how to act during a nuclear attack. Here is footage from the classic training film Duck and Cover, which repeats the lessons in various everyday circumstances. Children playing, a farmer in the field, a boy on his bicycle. With so many nuclear weapons in use, it's no surprise that some of them went missing. The surprise is how many. At least 50 nuclear weapons have been lost over time, mostly in accidents during transportation. Of these, most were recovered. However, the United States recognizes that 11 nuclear bombs have never been recovered. 9 of these are US and 2 are from foreign countries. The earliest still missing nuclear weapon is a 30-kiloton Mark IV bomb, like the one dropped on Nagasaki in Japan. In 1950, it was ejected from a B-36 military bomber over the Pacific Ocean to conserve fuel when the crew ran into an emergency. The 30-kiloton weapon plunged into the ocean and was never found. In 1956, a flight out of MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa was carrying 2 nuclear warheads when it was lost in a fog bank, and not a trace of it or the weapons were ever found. In 1961, a flight over South Carolina crashed, dropping 2 nuclear warheads, one of which ended up in a tree. The other one sank into a swamp where the military was unable to locate it. The government purchased an easement over the area, making it illegal for anyone to dig there. Were someone to locate it, they would take possession of a 24-megaton nuclear weapon. In 1968, a nuclear submarine called the USS Scorpion mysteriously disappeared, carrying 2 hydrogen bombs estimated at 250 kilotons. Its last radio call mentioned monitoring a nearby Soviet submarine. Most of the wreckage was eventually discovered, but the weapons were not recovered. They are presumably still under the ocean. Foreign countries have also lost nuclear weapons, some under circumstances which are more disturbing. One reason the Dragonfly story was so convincing was that a Russian general had recently provided information that a 10-kiloton nuclear bomb went missing during the confusion of the breakup of the Soviet Union. These missing bombs raise a number of concerns. The first one is this. No one knows the long-term effect of nuclear weapons at the bottom of the sea or buried in a South Carolina swamp. Of the lost weapons that have been recovered, a number of them were close to detonation. One of the weapons lost in Virginia was fully armed, and no one knows even today why it didn't detonate in the crash. Will one of these missing weapons spontaneously detonate one day? The second important concern is that these weapons or the nuclear material in them will end up in terrorist hands. Both the United States and Russia developed nuclear weapons that were designed to be carried in a backpack or a briefcase. This is reportedly the MK-54, a 6-kiloton nuclear weapon, powerful enough to kill hundreds of thousands in a densely populated area. The Israelis reportedly have an even smaller nuclear weapon, which was transported on commercial flights in the 1980s. In addition to the already lost nukes, there are nuclear weapons in the hands of less stable governments that are subject to collapse at any time. What will happen to their nuclear weapons? So what's the answer to the question, where are the missing nukes? They're scattered across the globe, under the oceans, buried in swamps, and in unknown hands. Apparently, they're everywhere. If you like this episode, please share it. Also, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm John Deere for Blob Law. As always, thanks for watching.